Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm T,
And I'm Nessa.
and together we are the Casual Fangirls. Today, we're talking about the latest episode of What If Ultron won? What an episode. So excited to talk about it with you all. But before we get started, Nessa is going to give you a little bit of a warning.
Okay, guys. So here it is. A spoiler alert. So if you have not seen the season of What If up to this point, that is not our fault. If you guys have not seen Age of Ultron, that is not our fault. If you guys have not seen any of the MCU movies, especially the ones including the Avengers, that's not our fault. Captain America, Winter Soldier, that is not our fault. And this is just a blanket MCU warning altogether. We are going to talk about all the things. So if you haven't seen any of that stuff, or especially if you haven't seen this episode in particular, please go watch the episode and then come back and join us. So we're going to have T give you guys the recap.
So on this episode, we start off in a world where Ultron defeats the Avengers. So in that world, he successfully kills what we assume to be the entire human population by launching nuclear bombs across the globe. Black Widow and Hawkeye manage to avoid being killed, and we see they are still actively trying to bring Ultron down. We see them on their way to Russia to sort through KGB files for a possible solution. In the meantime, Ultron realizes he has no purpose since his mission was completed, and as they say, ask and you shall receive. Thanos shows up with the other 5 Infinity Stones to presumably collect the 6th, and Ultron kills him immediately. We're going to talk about that. With the stones, he resolves to kill life on every other planet in the universe, and he does so. When he's finished, he's able to sense the Watcher and vows to find and kill him too. The Watcher almost intervenes with Black Widow and Hawkeye's search for a solution, but they manage to find information that points them to Zola, who is still stored in Siberia without the Watcher's help. They head that way, but unfortunately, Zola isn't able to take over Ultron completely. Hawkeye sacrifices himself to give Black Widow a chance to survive. Off-world and universe, Ultron finds the Watcher and a battle takes place across multiple universes. At this last moment, the Watcher gets away, and again, Ultron vows to rid all universes of life and of the Watcher. We last see the Watcher in the crystallized remnants of evil Doctor Strange's universe, where the Watcher asks for his help to take down Ultron. So Nessa, like this episode?
I did. I did like this episode. It had like iRobot vibes. It had Terminator vibes going on, post-apocalyptic universe kind of thing happening. It was interesting to see them tie together a lot of the things that have been going on throughout the season to this moment and presumably to the next episode, right? Because we can't just end here. Like that would be nuts if we just ended here. Mm-hmm. So I actually enjoyed watching Hawkeye.
Crazy how that works, right? How there are just some characters that just present a lot better animated.
Yes.
Yeah. Like as soon as he popped up, I was like, I'll allow this. Okay, that makes sense that his arrows will be able to do that in an animated world. But in the real world, I'm just like,
right. So I enjoyed seeing Hawkeye. Although I was just kind of like, oh, everybody's died and the last 2 people left are Hawkeye and Widow. Sure. Cool. But I did enjoy watching Hawkeye more than I've ever seen him in like the live action. And then basically them almost taking us through, which the MCU has been doing a lot, right? Which is basically taking down memory lane of like the last 10 years and kind of, showing us these worlds, but just in different ways. So, but overall, I thought it was a fun episode. I thought it was fast paced. I thought it had it pushed the storyline further than I thought that this experience than this would ever go. And so I really enjoyed it for that. How about you?
I also enjoyed this episode. This was the episode I don't know that there was another episode of this series where I got as hyped yelling at the screen as I did with this one. Like literally yelling at my screen for the watcher to whoop Ultron's ass. So that was really fun for me. Like you said, I enjoyed going down memory lane. I kicked myself as someone who likes theorizing and speculating about what's going to happen. There were a couple of moments where I was like, why didn't I think of that? I should have been caught that like years ago, So that was really fun. I agree, like seeing Hawkeye in this manifestation was just way more digestible to me. Especially when we get to the part where he decides to sacrifice himself. We'll talk about that. That was always the right call. He shouldn't have been the one to live in Endgame, but whatever. So there's that. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think that what I enjoyed about it the most, like you said, was this is the episode that's really starting to obviously tie the other stories we've seen together in a way that I predict or I speculate will launch the rest of phase 4, if not other phases into the future. So I'm super excited about it. So since we were talking about this and everything, if you, the viewer at home, have been watching us for a minute, last episode that we did this, we made some predictions about what we're going to happen with Ultron. And I am here to say that I am proud that my friend Nessa was right. She called so much of what happened in this episode. Her and I disagreed last episode as to like what Ultron's motivation could be. I believe that maybe he was acting as a pawn for Thanos or someone else. And Nessa was like, nope, he's acting all of his own accord. And she's right. And I tip my hat off to you, woman.
Thank you.
For calling that correctly. Because Ultron in this episode, I was just like, he gotta go. Like I was the whole time, get him off the screen. Like, please, I don't want to see this at all. And he really, he did that. I mean, he did that. Talk about, I love an effective villain. I say this all the time.
My man executed.
I didn't like him.
He executed his plan to the fullest.
He really did. I have a couple of questions. So, like, do we really believe that Hawkeye and Black Widow were the last people on Earth? And if so, how selfish is it of them to not repopulate?
First of all, they're just trying to survive. So I'm not even worried about it. But let me tell you something. Anytime there's a post-apocalyptic world, reproduction should be the last thing on your mind. And I feel the same way about like zombie movies. I'd be like, y'all really about to have babies right now? Y'all know that's gonna mess up the whole damn plan. Let's not.
I agree.
Let's not. So
I agree. I absolutely agree. But like there's nothing holding them back now though. Like for real, like okay. Go ahead.
I mean, we might as well get into it, right? Let's not act like Hawkeye and Widow was not doing the do. Like, come on. That necklace,
one hand, one arm, and all.
First of all, we knew they could say all they want. Nobody can convince me that Hawkeye and Black Widow was not smashing in Budapest or something. Nobody could tell me any different, because for her to be out here rocking that arrow necklace and then take it off when she walk up in the house, like, come on, man. Like, there was definitely something going on more than just friendship at some point with them. So them two being the last on Earth is actually really funny to me. And it makes me feel like, are like the writers or producers or whoever like poking at the fans, like, we know y'all wanted this and we're gonna just tease you with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like them two being the last on Earth is so unlikely. I don't want to downplay their skill set, but
they set it up as such, right? Like, obvious. I mean, for you to be in the Quinjet when the nukes are going off, that is probably the only way to survive that, right? If you're not actually on the ground, or already in a bunker or something, have a bunker around or something like that. So they set it up. I think I would buy that Hawkeye and Black Widow, especially together, are survivalists. Would I guess that the two of them would be the person to bring down fucking Ultimate Ultron? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I mean, with a little bit of help, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. So we kind of get the whole same backstory where Ultron is created by Tony, and things go wrong just like they do in the movie. But this time he gets himself into the Vision body before anybody can stop him. So now he's got the Mind Stone working, and he's got the vibranium body. So, and that allows him to move forward with his plan, which is to eliminate human life on Earth, right? Because that's the only thing that will bring peace to the planet, which is so wild and so crazy. And so he creates this whole
true. Okay, keep going.
But he creates like this whole robot army to send out. So now we're dropped in where Hawkeye and Black Widow are out here trying to survive, but not only survive, but bring down Ultron as a whole, right? So, I mean, and they almost did it too. It was interesting that, so I mean, we might as well get to it, like that Zola comes back to play a part in this, right? So now we're ending up in Russia to try and find a way to bring down Ultron. And it turns out that the key to that is Zola, who, if you've seen Winter Soldier,
they have, because if they hadn't, they wouldn't be watching this episode, because you told them to not watch it and they didn't watch it, right? Keep going.
Right. We know that Zola uploaded himself into a whole computer system so that he can kind of live on and do all the things and stuff. But apparently there's another copy in Russia that was running the Super Soldier initiative in Russia. So I was just like, that caught me off guard, because I was just like, oh.
Can I make a comment on this? And this is one of the places where I was like, damn, T, you should have thought about this, right? Me.
Yeah.
So if we think back to Winter Soldier, right? Steve Rogers, Black Widow, they go to Camp Lehigh because the coordinates sent them there. They find Zola, and Zola's like, oh, I've been a program. We've been a virus and SHIELD and infecting people, Hydra, Hail Hydra, yada, yada, yada. And then he's just like, oh, I've been stalling because basically a missile's coming to kill you. Why did we never pick up that Zola pretty much just like disregarded that setup of him? Why would Zola be willing to kill himself? Why didn't we think, especially us as Harry Potter fans, knowing how Voldemort handled the diary and how Dumbledore put it together, he must have more than one Horcrux, because he wouldn't just throw away and leave it to chance that this Horcrux could be like discovered and destroyed. I was so mad at myself when I saw this episode. I was like, it's the fucking Tom Riddle diary all over again.
It was.
Why didn't we catch that?
I did not think of it that way. I just did not think of there being another copy out there. And I guess if you if you read the comics, you know that there is another, that there is a like super soldier Captain America version in Russia called the Red Guardian. So when Black Widow picks up the shield, that's basically supposed to represent like the Red Guardian shield or whatever. But like, if you don't read the comics or you don't really know that, it doesn't really click. But you know, Nat is from Russia. It made sense that they tied it all back into Russia, and that would be the place that they would be checking. So yeah, you're right. I mean, we should have figured there might be more than one copy than just in like, you know, Camp Lehigh, but it never clicked to me. It never clicked to me.
I love that we got to see the Siberia bunker again from Civil War, where the 5 Winter Soldiers were. I love that. Like you said, it was nice just like seeing familiar scenes and everything like that. But I definitely was just like, how did me and Nessa not catch that?
We did not.
How did we not catch it?
We did not.
Before we move on to the next thing, I do want to call out 2 things about Hawkeye, since it's like all in the same vein.
Yeah.
One, he's missing an arm, right?
Very Bucky of him.
Very Bucky of him. We're in Russia, Siberia. We're in the place where the Winter Soldiers were being stored and everything on ice. I thought that was really interesting. But the thing I wanted to call out was that most of the people, so we know, I think most people know, but if you don't, viewers at home, in phase 2 especially, The MCU writers made it a thing that in every single phase 2 movie, some character lost their left arm, right? And what I thought about watching this is I remembered that, but Hawkeye's arm that's missing is actually his right arm, not his left arm. So I thought that was an important distinction to call out, because I feel like they want us to, like, including Bucky, it's his left arm that's missing, but in with Hawkeye in this episode of What If, it's his right arm that's missing. The other thing I want to mention is that Hawkeye has an invisibility cloak.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes.
Where did he get an invisibility cloak?
Bro, when I saw that, I was like, Hawkeye got a whole invisibility cloak. I was like, okay, Potter.
He got a Deathly Hollow.
But then, just like Potter, he dropped it every freaking time. I was like, so you have this invisibility cloak and you're just gonna drop it? Like, you couldn't have tied it around your neck or something? Like,
like a cloak? He definitely he definitely did drop it, and I didn't realize that. You would think he would go get it after they finished killing them. I mean, it don't matter now because he did.
I mean, but it's super helpful and useful if you're trying to hide from a bunch of, like,
we know
killer robots.
We know, right? Because he was able to get up close to them because he was under the cloak. I was just like,
about that. Yeah.
How did they make it out of the, like, I forget the name of it, like the reflectors on, like, the Helicraft and on the Quinjet to make them go invisible. I wonder if they, like, modified it, but I'm just like, it's just,
or it might be like nanotech.
It could be nanotech. I don't know if nanotech existed by the time the Ultron series came. I know nanotech came in for Infinity War, but who knows? But I was like, he has an invisibility cloak. That's some magic type ish. How did you contact Dumbledore, and why is he just letting y'all just be out here like this by yourself? So
that was great.
So I just want to call out those two things about Hawkeye that I thought was really, really interesting. And again, like I mentioned before, the callback to Black Widow and Hawkeye being put in a situation where one is, like, sacrificing themselves for the other, so to speak. I thought that was, I mean,
go ahead, let it out.
I said it earlier. This is how it should have gone down the first time. Hawkeye should have sacrificed himself the first time around. The first time we seen him do it. So him doing it now makes a lot of sense. Although I will say that I'm not entirely sure it was necessary for him to do it here. Whereas in Infinity War, it was absolutely necessary. I mean, Endgame, it was necessary for one of them to sacrifice themselves. In this case, I don't buy that it was necessary, but he chose to be like, I'm tired. And I respect it. I respect that. That's fine. You know, your family's gone. If she's not really, if, you know, your girl, then I guess you don't really need to feel like you live for her neither. So, you know, side chick problems or whatever. Yeah. But this felt better to me. Like, okay, Hawkeyes. Although I'm a little mixed because I like the Hawkeye here more than I like the Hawkeye in the movies. But this felt like what I felt like should have been in Endgame, personally.
Yeah. See, for me, I didn't have a problem with Nat dying in Endgame. I was actually fine. I was with it. But I'm definitely happy that it got reversed in this. Like, because for her to die again, I'd be like, all right, y'all doing too much. Like, Disney, I know y'all mad, but come on now. Like, we ain't got to do all that to my girl.
What's 40 million to them? It's fine. They don't care. What's 40 million?
Drop in the bucket. So, I mean, I wasn't mad about the whole thing in Endgame, but I am happy to see it reversed in this point. And yeah, I think they were just, throughout the episode, they were leading us up to, like, the whole I'm tired, I can't fight anymore type of thing. So if he was gonna make the self-sacrifice play, I guess that was the place to make it. So, but also, like, again, like, his gear, you mentioned it earlier, but his gear was so fire. So when he shot down that arrow that created that force field, I was like, oh,
dope, right?
We got useful ass arrows now. I mean, his arrows are useful in the Infinity Saga, but this was on a whole different level.
But who made those for you? Where you getting new arrows from if it's only got 2 left?
No, wait, damn. You know what I was gonna say? The invisibility cloak kind of reminds me of Wakanda and their I know cloak is not the right word, but how they would use their
like cape.
I know cloak, yeah, to like as a shield and that. It just kind of reminds me. Now that I'm thinking about it, it reminds me of that. So
That's
even
really interesting.
like if there was going to be anywhere where he could have possibly gotten this tech, is maybe Wakanda.
Do you think Wakandans are still alive in this universe?
That's what I was waiting to see. Right? Because I mean, we know they have the dome over them, but like, is that dome strong enough to withstand nukes?
Oh, I would absolutely assume so, that they would figure that out.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah. Shuri's not letting no nukes come from Wakanda. There's no way. There's no way. The bigger question is, did Ultron knew Wakanda existed? Because he has vibranium.
He has vibranium. So the way they explain the reason why he did not know about Wakanda or Wakanda in its entirety in like the Avengers Endgame is because he's plugged into like the interwebs and stuff,
Of
right?
course, yeah. And
but Wakanda is not plugged into like the worldwide internets. So therefore I guess Wakanda is almost like that little black spot that you just don't see show up on the map. But for him to have the Mind Stone, to have Vision's body, I mean, it's still possible that he may not know. I don't think we ever see Wakanda in this episode.
No, we don't. We don't see Wakanda. We don't see what we would assume to definitively be Wakanda, but when the Watcher and Ultron are fighting and they're going from universe to universe, there is a point where there is like what I would assume to be people from somewhere in Africa watching the fight.
Yeah.
But it's not sure whether, I don't think it didn't look like Wakanda to me personally. So I'm not entirely sure. We also don't know like what time or whatever
universe that was.
Wakanda could not even be a thing there, or Wakanda could be the entire globe. You never even know. So in that particular universe. So
I mean, even so I guess we might as well get on to Ultron.
Yeah.
Which is after he gets his powers and like decimates, Earth, he's just like, oh wait, there's more worlds to find.
How did he know that there was more worlds?
Wait, yes, we have to talk about that. So after he decimates the Earth, who else but Thanos, our main man Thanos, big bad Thanos, comes walking through the club, and the club gets shot up.
Immediately.
0.5 seconds.
Literally, Nessa, like using a move we've seen used before, like a Pokemon, like I choose you, Vision, like head thing, and it's like done. What is happening? Why didn't Vision do this in Infinity War?
To begin with, and that's what made me so mad, because I was like, wait, Vision could have done this all along?
And we've seen him do it before. That was the other part where I was just like, why did I never think about that? He didn't even think twice. I mean, Ultron is just like, oh, you're breathing, you die, right? Vision is just like, you're breathing, you live, right? So I can understand the potential hesitation, but Vision had like a cool 5-10 minutes in slow-mo while Thanos was like throwing off Steve Rogers and the Hulk and Black Panther and like all these people, as Vision standing there like watching Thanos walk up to him, didn't think once to just fucking zap him in the middle of his freaking forehead.
Attack. That's it. Just attack. Try it out. See what happens. My boy Ultron says zoop, straight up the middle. Done.
Oh, we're not we're not doing it. No. Oh,
Endgame's
what's that?
over.
That's mine.
Done.
Oh my goodness.
Infinity Stones. And just was like, let me create this. Did a wardrobe change. And then dripped himself out. He said, I like this jewelry. Hold on now. Wait a minute.
Yeah, this whole Jesus piece.
Rapper.
Yeah, this whole chain on. Set it up like he had on. He set it up like he had on a black turtleneck with a Jesus piece, just like chilling.
Ready. He said, oof, I'm feeling fresh. Let's get the rest of the planets, man. and ends up going to Asgard and basically causes Ragnarok himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He goes to Sakaar.
Mm-hmm.
Where else did he go? He went to Xandar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get back to Xandar though. He destroys Ego.
Ego. Didn't
And then
even blink. He did the Sovereign Planet.
He did the Sovereign Planet.
Sovereign Planet. That's where the Guardians were at the time.
Yeah, and then so coming back to Xandar, he gets to Xandar,
Speak
right?
on
And
it.
he's ready,
Mm-hmm.
ready to blow it up. Our resident hall monitor, Captain Marvel, pops up and is like, "We're not about to do this." Bang! Hits him straight down to the core of the earth. And you know what? I appreciate her because even though she made a little speech, but very little hesitation. She said, "Nah, we getting straight to business."
She called him Skynet.
Yeah.
Always with the 90s references with her.
Yo, she's like, I've seen this movie already and it doesn't need a sequel. And I was like,
right.
Terminator.
My favorite part about that was us seeing Captain Marvel's full power the episode after she said that she was reserving it. That was like my favorite part about that. Like all the way to the core of the earth. Okay.
Right. All the way to the core of the earth without her being unscathed at all.
Right.
Just unscathed. Gets him there. And then he's like, "Ooh, you got spirit. You feisty girl. I like that. I like that in a woman." And then whips her ass and blows up the whole planet.
More than the planet. I think something about him killing her and her energy, like before that, we were just seeing planets being blown up one by one. But when that happened, we saw moons and other planets being blown up too. Yeah, so Captain Marvel can be killed.
We talked about it last episode. How can you kill Captain Marvel? And we found out, boy. We found out in a big way.
So, I mean, what does that mean for the person that Ultron hasn't killed yet? Like, how powerful is the Watcher? Right? Let's talk about that a little bit.
That is the question. Because then after he wipes out the universe, he's just like, what do I do now? And then like here goes the Watcher like narrating in the background. He's like, just kind of like how Doctor Strange did. He was like, who is that? Who are you? And then my boy's like, ooh, there's more worlds outside of here? Let me see. And my boy, the Watcher, closed the window so fast. He was like, nah, hold up. Lock the doors, put the deadbolt on. My boy, the Watcher, was like, oh, shit.
It took him too long to realize it. I was like, shh, shh. Like, Pops, like, don't tell him, shh. You're talking too loud.
Nobody.
You're talking too loud. I was like, why are you still talking? Shut up. He can hear you.
Man. So then, he realizes there's universes out there. So now his mission is, I got to get out of these universes because there's still more purpose for me to fulfill. But yeah, back to how strong is the Watcher. Up until this moment, we've seen him as like this kind of almost like peaceful, being. So when him and Ultron finally clash, when he finally makes it through and breaks through that prism, breaks through the multiverse, and we see them clash, I'm like, oh man, the Watcher's about to die. That was my first thought. I was like, this is gonna be bad. This is not gonna be good.
My first thought was like, the Watcher's head is really big. You didn't think that? Like he has a really big head. I was like, wow, that's a dome. And I know because I got a dome. Like that's a dome.
I mean, to see all, I guess,
Heimdall ain't got a dome.
But then Heimdall fails at his job.
Maybe he needs a bigger head. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
A bigger head.
But yeah, when I saw them fight, I was shocked that the Watcher didn't take a read of what was happening quicker. Like you've seen everything that's ever been seen, that's ever happened. You've never seen anything like this. You say this out loud. Act sooner.
Right.
Act a lot sooner. Even if it means like you go in hiding sooner, like you need to do something a little bit sooner. So, but it was nice seeing them fight, especially when the Watcher was just like, all right, I'm tired of this. Let's do this. And then they started like actually fighting instead of him just like letting him like beat him around and try to talk sense to him. That was cool to like see them fight.
I did have hopes for the Watcher, because I'm like, if you are this like ancient being, like you have to have some sort of powers, like you gotta get some. So when he did his little Sailor Moon transformation, I was like, ooh, it's about to go down. Okay, Watcher got some hands on him.
Yeah.
So he put up a fight, but Infinite Ultron was whooping that ass. But that was a fun fight scene. I think that was the first fight scene in a long time that really got me excited again, where I was like, oh, we're breaking through all the multiverses, we're pushing through, like these two beings are going at each other. And it was that moment of like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And that part was so exciting, not knowing where this was going and how it was gonna end was like the exciting part. And speaking of breaking through the multiverses, we get a moment.
Just about to bring that up. Yep.
We get a moment where we see our good boy Steve Rogers taking a pledge. What do you think that pledge was about, T?
I mean, the fact that it was being broadcast in the middle of like what I assume to be a city square of some sort must have been pretty important. So some sort of office, maybe like the most important office in the land, let's say in the US of A. Could he have been being sworn in for president?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, if it's gonna be Rogers and it's being broadcasted like this, I was like, do we get a President Rogers?
So we got a President Loki. Why not? You know how I feel about Loki.
We know. We know.
I feel the same way about Steve Rogers. So I'm here for both of them for being president.
Your boy Christopher Tyrone Evans.
Christopher Jamal Evans can be president any day. Tell me to vote all day long.
That was a fun night. I'm going to just kind of make the assumption that that's probably been somewhere in the comics somewhere.
Probably.
So if anybody with comics knowledge can kind of like let us know and inform us, like, is that a thing? Just how like President Loki was a thing? Let us know, because that's what I'm assuming. Because otherwise it would be just the most random of choice to kind of make just to show.
But is
like,
it though?
I feel like it is, because if it's not gonna tie into something, then what was the point? Unless it's gonna tie into something bigger in the next episode or whatever.
Here's why I think that was important. And this is what I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping sometime in the near future, we finally get more information about Steve Rogers going back to be with Peggy and how that how that played out and what that means for like how the multiverse works and time travel and all that jazz. And I'm hoping that them doing that is to just remind us that Steve Rogers is a character. Like that's what I'm hoping. They're going to
come back to it.
They're going to come back to Steve Rogers in general, maybe not in that capacity, but just in general. So I'm hoping that's what that was, because I still don't feel like I have closure on that. And
none of us do.
I mean, some people probably just don't even think about it as deeply as we do.
I think about it all the time.
You know, I probably would have stopped thinking about it if it wasn't for the Loki series.
It still would have been on my mind.
When you give me more rules, but the rules don't explain something that's already happened, now I'm starting to become obsessed with it. Like, you need to explain what happened. And I don't want to hear a producer explain it. I want to see explain it in the content, you know?
Yeah, we have to see it play out. We need the visuals. Right. We have to see it play out.
Or an explanation. Just tell me a character, just have them explain it. I don't know. Have freaking Falcon explain it. He knows what happened to him. But Bucky knows what happened to him. And they're not saying it. They say he's on the moon. Like, being facetious, right? So it's just, which is funny and it's fine, but like, I actually want an explanation. The one other thing I wanted to bring up about them fighting in between the multiverses is that there are now pictures of the Watcher.
Yeah.
So how is that going to play out moving forward? Like, like now if people in some of the universes know that the Watcher exists, does that mean that now other villains or heroes will know the Watcher exists? If the Watcher manages to defeat Ultron in the next episode, the knowledge of the Watcher is now out in the open. So who can use that information against him or to their benefit, right? So that's something that popped up to me, because You know who I thought about when I saw people taking pictures of the Watcher?
Who?
Kang. Kang not gonna like that.
I
Does
mean,
Kang know the Watcher exists when Kang understands that there are multiple universes? I don't know. He's like the only other person that has this like bird's eye view of all the multiverses. So maybe he knows the Watcher exists. I have no idea.
that is a good question. That is a good question.
Is Kang gonna come in and stop Ultron? I don't know. Maybe. I think it would
I
be
don't
in his.
think so.
I think it would be in his interest, though. I don't think so either. But if he had the opportunity, I think it would be in his interest to stop Ultron.
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna sit on my brain. Does Kang actually know about the Watcher and stuff? But yeah, now that these other universes know about this like ancient cosmic being, it's like, what does that mean for what's going forward? And we've spoken about this before, whereas we're saying like the MCU is getting grander and bigger in terms of going into like the cosmos and that kind of realm. So I think that's just another foot in the door of like, we're making our universes and multiverses bigger than ever before. But I am kind of curious to see if that's going to play out in the future, or I don't know if maybe some of these universes are going to collapse on themselves and it'll just be like, oop, never happened.
Like Doctor Strange's universe.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of get this meta commentary from Ultron where he's like, anything can happen in the multiverse, and I was just like, I see what you guys did there.
He also called the Watcher creepy, which I thought was really funny.
It's just like Heimdall. Like, your job is to literally sit there and sigh on everybody all the time, and the Watcher just keeps getting closer and closer every time, to the point that when we are in Russia and Hawkeye and Widow looking for the solution, he's literally like up on them, like,
breathing
mama,
on their
making
neck.
sure you're doing your homework. Like, you done? What's 2 + 2?
What's 2 + 2?
You better not get this answer. You better open your notebook.
Like, yo, there's just like, that's a good point. Like, what is the point of the Watcher? What's the point? Are you just there to document everything that's happening? Is that your mission in life? Like, what is your mission? You out here like commenting on Ultron's vision, but what is your actual vision? Yes, we know you can't intervene, but what are you there for?
Right, because he says his orders are not to intervene, right? Meaning that my boy got a boss. He got somebody above him that's giving him the rules, possibly Kang, who's like, listen, I'm trying to keep these multiverses in check. I just need you to keep a lookout and make sure, everything is good. But then if you're not allowed to intervene, then
why is he not going to the person he's reporting to?
What is the reason? What is your reason for being here? What is the reason?
I knew you were going to do that. I was just being quiet, waiting for you to do it.
I had to build up to it. What was the reason?
Yeah, there were a couple of different. That just feels really like inefficient to me.
Yeah.
Watch, but not run, tell, or intervene. Like, what? I don't understand that. The other thing that felt slightly inefficient, and then I want to bring it here real quick, and then we can bring it back.
Yeah.
Ultron / Vision, whoever, he looks like Vision, so I get in my brain, I have to tell myself to call him Ultron. Fair. He decides, once he gets all the Infinity Stones, he decides to go to these different worlds and destroy them, right? That didn't strike you as odd that he didn't just like snap his fingers or like just use the Infinity Stones to do it without actually having to go and blow up every planet? Also, he made it his business to go and blow up every other planet. He did not blow up Earth. Why not?
I think possibly because his brain hive is there. I think, or they were talking about his hive or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe for him, Earth is like home base. So it's just
Maybe.
like, I'm not gonna blow it up. The snapping the fingers thing. So I recently did a rewatch of Infinity War and Endgame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my because I'm weird. My question was, how did y'all even know a snap would do it? Like, who came up with the idea that it had to be a snap? Like, why couldn't it have just been a thought? Why couldn't it have just been whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, who, it could have been a clap, it could have been, I don't know, a dance, whatever. But like, whose idea said that this had to be a snap, make things happen? So that
I
always kind of stuck out to me as just like, why that? Um, Especially if you have all the powers of the stones. And anytime you're using the individual stones, you never have to do anything of that nature.
so think about it. Harry Potter, right? Channeling the magic or channeling the energy like through an object, right? Kind of
Yeah.
similar to like I think the sorcerers like Doctor Strange, they use relics to channel the magic within them as well. Maybe
Right.
the gauntlet serves that, and instead of like waving your hand like a wand or whatever, you actually have to do
It has to
something
be
to
the
like
snap.
to activate or like to like use the energy of all of them together. I don't know. I'm like speculating. Obviously, I'm making it up, but
No, that makes
that
sense. You
probably
gotta,
could work. But that's also like requires the other hand.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You gotta channel it somehow, but also it's just like, But I think for Ultron, I think it's such a personal mission for him.
That's a good
Like,
point.
because you know,
That's
with
a good
with
point.
Thanos, it was like, I'm doing this for the greater good.
Mm.
And like, once I do this shit, I'm just gonna go retire to my garden
Mm-hmm.
and like, grow some petunias and shit and maybe
Mm-hmm.
some squash on the side. But for Ultron, this is a personal mission. I need to make sure and need to see all of these beings dead, and I need to be the one to do it. So I
Mm.
think that's why for him, it's like, I got to go out and go do it because he takes such pleasure in it. Where it's like Thanos, even though Thanos took pleasure and I accomplished my mission, it's not necessary that he took pleasure in
And
like
killing people, yeah.
killing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's the major difference about it. So,
I'll,
which I
I'll,
mean,
I'll accept that.
yeah.
I'll accept that.
That's the only explanation I can kind of come up with.
I think that makes sense. So if we go back to like the final scene of the episode to like begin
Mm-hmm.
wrapping this up, we see the Watcher chilling in evil Doctor Strange's bedroom, the crystallized remnants of his universe.
Well, let's
And
talk about, hold up.
yeah.
Ultron got the upper hand on the Watcher, and my man said retreat. He said, hold up. He said, I gotta go home.
So what happened right before that was some Avatar. Do you remember that scene where Ultron basically grabbed the Watcher's big ass head,
Yes.
and you saw like the energy or like you just saw like something with the life force in the Watcher being affected. I don't know if he was sucking it out or
Yeah.
Ultron was trying to force himself onto the Watcher in a non-sexual way, but still invasive, so I'll allow it. It reminded me like almost verbatim of Aang doing that to the Fire Lord, like in the
Right.
last episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I thought that was very interesting. That was the other fandom callback I wanted to bring up. But yeah, Ultron was just like, we about to end this, and the Watcher was just like, nope.
He said, I got one more chance, one more trick up my sleeve. So he retreats. Right. And ends up, like you said, in that little crystallized prison, I guess. That our old Supreme Doctor Strange from episode 4 enclosed himself in on when he destroyed his universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love how, I love how Doctor Strange pulled up and was just like, say it. Say it. I want to hear, I want to hear you say it. And my boy was like, you really want me to say it? He was like, yes. Like, I'm ready to break my oath. Like, let's do this.
I need your help.
I need your help.
I am so excited to see what they're going to come up with. Like evil Doctor Strange, who we're still calling evil, but I'm not sure that title necessarily fits right now. We'll see. BD. I don't know. I don't even know that he was actually ever really evil. It's just like
Yeah.
super misguided and just on the wrong path. But I'm really excited to see what they're gonna dig up with this, because I mean the Watcher is going to have to tell Doctor Strange should know that there are other universes already, correct? So yeah, I'm excited to hear them talk about it, about what's happening. I'm excited to hear them talk through different solutions. I'm kind of hoping that Doctor Strange is going to say, well, let's go get people from other universes to help.
I need the team up.
Yeah, let's get the Avengers back together. Like, might be like, well, how was he defeated in the other universes? Like, oh, like the Avengers did it. Like, let's just go fucking get them. It's like, okay, let's go do that. Like, that would be kind of cool, I think. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what their plan is going to be and how they're going to play it out. Sticking with, I think they're going to have to hop through universes to collect a team together that's going to be strong enough to hopefully take down Infinite Ultron as he's running through universes and taking them down. But then it's like, how are we going to wrap this up? Because if everything that's happening this season is canon, we have to at some land in a certain universe, somewhere. So what is that universe going to be? How many universes are we going to lose along the way, if any? I don't know. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. Are they going to try and introduce more cosmic characters?
I hope not. I honestly, I hope it ends with Kang. Kang.
Why do you always get this like?
Just saying the word Kang just feels off to me because it's an offshoot of King to me, and I don't like saying King that way. But yeah, I think the one neat way, it's probably not the only neat way to wrap this up and still have it all like contained without giving us too much for the rest of Phase 4, is to just have Kang with a G at the end be the part of the resolution in some way. We've already seen him. We know that he is omnipotent. I'm saying that word incorrectly, but forgive me. He's like above all the universes and all seeing, all knowing to a certain extent as well. Actually, no, he is, because remember, he was able to plan out Loki and Sylvie's like actions up until the point where they had to make a choice. Yeah, right. So if we believe that Kang is still operating in that role in some way, in some capacity, then I can see him intervening in some way, or like him being the one to like nip this in the bud and like put a bow on this. But I have no idea what other options there are right now.
That is interesting. I don't know, because the Zola plan failed because Ultron was already out of the multiverse, so Zola couldn't even download himself into Ultron to take him down. So that failed. So now the question is, what way can we take him down? Even if you assemble a team together and all that stuff, what other way can you take him down?
They would probably try to find some way to jump universes so that Zola can be
and take Zola with them.
Yeah, they could take Zola with them.
That's a possibility.
I don't necessarily want to see that, but I think that it's a possibility. Like, I don't want to see Black Widow figure out a way to jump universes. Not that I have anything against people that don't have like superpowers, but like, I don't want to see that. It's too soon.
If they're jumping universes, it's going to have to be through the Watcher. Like, the Watcher's just going to be throwing them through universes, or
taking them with them. Yeah, like I think it was so fitting that our heroes who don't have like legit superpowers see space for the first time in Endgame.
Right.
That was so fitting, right? Like Black Widow
hasn't been to space,
right?
Don't throw up in my spaceship,
right? Steve Rogers, all of them, just like, holy crap! Like, like that's really saying something that they kept those things separate for such a long time. And if they in this episode, next episode, are just like, all right, Black Widow, here you go, like literally just throw her with Zola towards Ultron, and like whatever, like that feels too much. I think a little bit.
We shall see.
We're gonna see, definitely.
We shall see.
So what are we thinking? I'm excited as well. So do we think there are any other potential implications for the MCU moving forward? Like, what did we learn in this episode that we could potentially take with us moving forward?
I think we may learn that other characters are going to learn about the multiverse. Even before Loki kind of gets to people, find out that other people become aware that the multiverse exists. And that may be what brings in all the other King variants. Like, who knows if maybe, you know, the Watcher kind of going through that fight and breaking through all those universes might have alerted the other kings of those universes to be like, ooh, wait a minute. There's other worlds out here. Okay. I think that might be a way to kind of bring that in. I don't know. Like I said, like I'm curious to see if other universes are going to survive, or if some of them are going to die out. So those are the things I'm looking for. What about you?
I think the awareness of the multiverse is going to be really interesting moving forward. We have to get better at knowing what MCU properties are coming up next, because in my head, okay, so the Eternals is the next thing I think, but I think they're setting up What If to lead into Spider-Man. So I just think it'd be really interesting to see like how that's actually going to play out with the multiverse in some capacity. So there's that. And then so this has been like on my brain a little bit too. If there are an infinite number of universes, right? If the multiverse is infinite, then there is a universe where like every choice is reversed or the opposite happens, right? So there is a universe where Zola won. I'm not Zola. There's a universe where the Red Skull won. There's a universe where every single villain we've seen has won. And I just think it's a really interesting thought experiment to like ponder that for a second. Like, is Ultron the biggest villain we need to worry about in this like multiverse context?
That is,
because to be fair, I don't know that we've ever put Ultron as like the top 3 villains that we've seen in the Infinity Saga. We may have underestimated him. We
haven't, because literally they named it Age of Ultron and my man was dead in 2 hours. So, but if you really think about what Ultron is and what he represents, he absolutely should have been a way more than he ever was. But that is a good point to think that if there is a universe for each villain winning, is he one of the biggest foes that we have to worry about? Yikes.
Right, like there's also a version, and we know this, there's 17 million versions where Thanos wins because Doctor Strange said it, right? So we know that that's a thing, and that's awful too. And so I don't know, I was just thinking about it earlier today, like just like, is Ultron the worst of it? I don't know.
I guess in a sense, yes, because he has an irrational drive to destroy humanity. Whereas everybody else is a little bit more specific in what they're looking for.
Well, he has no emotion. That's the problem. Right. It's not that it's not that it's irrational, it's that it's completely rational. It's like void of like irrational to me kind of means like
it's a dark thought. I mean, that it's a rational choice to bring peace to Earth.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's the rational choice. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a lot of times people equate, or they they use these interchangeably. Someone is emotional and irrational, right? Like people say that those two things are the same. Ultron being a whatever he is, a sentinel or whatever he has no emotions. There's no emotional connection to what he's doing. So everything he's doing is literally based off of logic or ration, and it's just his computer logic, his computer programming. So that's what I mean by rational.
I guess.
Not that I'm justifying or I think what he's doing is justified. Just that his programming is literally just logic. There's no emotion behind it. So there's no way, kind of like Voldemort, there's no way to tap into like and manipulate him in a way or to like speak to his humanity. It doesn't exist because he has no emotional ties, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
Thanos is like, he had his daughters, right? You can kind of talk what we would call reason into him by being like, hey, like, you want to see your daughters killed? I mean, he'd be like, yes, but greater good, right?
He at least shed a tear.
Yeah, he cried. cried for a hot second before he threw her off the cliff. But anyway, so yeah, I think you're right. Ultron is like the definitely probably the hardest to get rid of, especially once he gets the Infinity Stones to wrap, like as we see, right? So he even killed Ego, which was dope.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what the future kind of holds for this, because I believe we only have one more episode left, and that will be our finale. So we're gonna see how this ends and how this wraps up.
We are. So I think that wraps up our discussion for tonight. Any other last thoughts, Nessa, before we wrap this up for real?
No, that's all I got. I think we got it all out.
I know. I think we got all of the things out. The other thing, we'll end on this note. I was telling Nessa earlier that it didn't occur to me until this episode that the Watcher was Black. And I don't know why it didn't occur. Like it didn't read, it didn't resonate, it didn't register until this episode. But it actually makes me kind of excited to see, even in animated form, so many characters of color. I mean, the Watcher, we don't even know if he's human. So is he Black or white or Asian, whatever? I don't know if that translates to non-humans, but he has browner skin, and I'm just here for it. So I just want to see the Watcher and Kang and Falcon America, was what I'm calling him, Falcon America. American Falcon is what I'm calling him. Like, just we're now seeing more prominent characters of color, and I'm just super excited about that. I get what movie my mother used to watch him in growing up. He was playing like a drug dealer or something. The actor, I'm so bad with names, and I remember being like, that dude is scary.
Yeah, I know him from Westworld. So if anybody who has seen Westworld out there, which is a mind fuck of a show, but
wasn't he also in Hunger Games? He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I know him from Westworld. So, but it was just like so weird to me that it never clicked in your brain that he was Black. The Watcher's always been Black.
I know. And I've been watching him this entire time. You know what it clicked? It clicked when he came out of the like void. When he was like, when he made it to an Earth of some sort. I was like, oh,
you're
Black.
Like, oh.
Oh, like he's actually Black. That wasn't just like a tint from him looking through the crystallized window or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to, that was the last thing I was like, oh, he's Black.
Fair enough.
Anyways, with that, we're going to wrap up. We will see you all soon. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed our discussion today. Let us know in the comments how you felt about the episode. Whether you think Ultron is like the worst we have to think about when it comes to when we like thinking about the multiverses and all the different possibilities. Let us know all the things. Stay tuned.
Follow our socials.
Yes, follow the socials on Instagram. We are at @casualfangirls_. So follow us there. We're on YouTube. Search Casual Fangirls, and you'll see our beautiful faces there. Yeah, so I'm kind of sad that the series is about to be over, but it'll give us a little bit of time to plan for the next set of things that we're gonna do as a duo. So I'm excited about that. So come back next week when we'll be reviewing what we believe to be the final episode of Disney Plus's What If series. I'm hoping it ends in an interesting way. We'll see. We will see.
Can they stick the landing?
That's always the question, right? Can they stick
I
the
believe they
landing?
will.
I mean,
I
so
believe.
far, kind of so good-ish with their Disney Plus series-ish. We can talk about that another time. So with that said, I am T.
And I'm Nessa.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls. We'll see you soon.